episode is sponsored by Teamhood, a modern project management system.
Hello, Staffan. We are here in Agile Tour 2022 Vilnius. You just had a real nice presentation, real nice speech about the mythical sprint goal with the 20 reasons why to skip the sprint backlog. But maybe beginning you can just mention a few words about yourself, and then we'll go to the topic which you presented, and maybe just talk about that.
Yes, I've been to this agile thing for a long time. I come from tech, so I was a programmer, and then 20 years ago I started with things like this. And during that time, the last 20 years, I think agile has changed a lot. First, it was more like being able to work in team and how to do that and deliver consistently, but maybe not about delivering real value, but delivering in short feedback loops. Then all this UX and all these things, maybe not UX, but things similar to UX entered, and value was more important. And nowadays there are things that maybe are opposite to what Agile was from the beginning, or like waterfall frameworks that use the word Agile, so people think of that.
Give me a second. Hello? Try to
Yeah,
maybe it's saying that he's out of battery, but let we'll check.
Okay. So they think, when they think about Agile, they speak about that. And I've been a consultant all the time, so no skin in the game.
But you were like, you said that you were a developer, and then from the developer you jumped to the consultancy straight away?
No, I was a consultant when I was developer as well. Yeah.
Straight away?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I tried to get a broad experience, to not stay like 10 years in one company, more like 1 or 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I spent like 6 months or 1 year on digging into something, or I wrote some books, or I made some trainings or other things.
And you wrote some book, because during the presentation you mentioned, I think I saw 2 of the books, Monotasking, and the Pomodoro technique.
Right.
I think Pomodoro technique in illustration.
Yeah,
and,
it's called Pomodoro Technique Illustrated, the book.
Yeah,
it's from 2008, I think.
Cool. Maybe let's check if we'll have time later for the books, but now those 20 reasons. And I try to, actually all the reasons really felt close, because you mentioned about those important things, but I mentioned, like, added to my notes a few of them, like multitasking. I think that's really often what we have currently with this fast pace and living, like, so we're trying to do more, like, faster. We're thinking if we pick everything and work on the same, like, things during the same day, it will be so much faster, but it's not the right thing. No. Even if you have a picture, that if we will do this in a week, focus on this in a week. And how often you seeing in the companies which maybe you can consult, that they are still trying to convince themselves and still using them? Like, isn't it often?
I think it's something about our brains that when we know that we are going to do a lot of things, it feels safe to start all these things, because then we think that now it's rolling, so we will complete this. It's not only like managers forcing people to do that. People want to get started, and also when you have so many stakeholders, to say to someone, if you're my stakeholder, to say to you, I haven't started with your thing, but that means that I will deliver to you earlier, because I focus on this thing and then I focus on your thing. I'm not multitasking. That's a both thing. So it will be delivered earlier. That doesn't always land well. It's not received well, because the stakeholders also think that I need you to start with my thing. Otherwise, it will.
Yes, it's again, this requires even more communication between you and the different stakeholders, because every stakeholder will say, I want my thing to start now.
Yeah.
And then you, in this, without the multitasking, you have to say, okay, look, I will work on this, and I will start working on your different stakeholder task only after a week. And that you need to manage this, priority things, and then say that in our way, we can start the both, but we will delay both of them. Is that right? So it's again communication, openness, and many other reasons and options how to make less multitasking.
I think OKRs, if they're done well, there are many bad examples of OKRs, can create the same good thing on a high level, so that a larger organization or a department or a section or something like that can focus on fewer things and really deliver those and make those first and those after, not starting everything at the same time.
Yeah, but I think in general, every good thing, if it's misused, can be a bad thing. The same like, I don't know, it seems the spring goal. One of the examples which you mentioned, it's busy driven or value driven.
Yeah.
Because it can be, just the sprint goal to finish every task which we added. And so it's mentioned it's kind of busy driven because it's just filling random things that people will be just busy, but are we focusing on value? So.
And it might also be a good feeling in short term that if you're really busy, then you're recognized and you're doing something good. It doesn't matter what you're doing, because you're in the flow, in the sense not the lean flow, but the flow from this guy flow that you're really competent in this and you're doing it, but you might win the wrong game because you might not do the thing that you should do.
Yeah. I really like your picture and one of the notes. It's additive or subtractive.
Yeah.
I know, and you showed that, like in the picture, really got a great example. Maybe you can elaborate on this, like how to stop adding.
Yeah, so it was two bicycles, and one bicycle was the old way. When I was a kid, how you learn to bike, you have these supporting wheels, and after a while you could run this bicycle really well, but when you took off the supporting wheels, you fell flat immediately, because you don't learn to ride a bike if you add these constraints. You learn to ride a bike with supporting wheels. Yeah. And nowadays they have changed it. I've noticed that they instead have this, what do they call it? Balancing bike. So instead of adding supporting wheels, they have removed the pedals. So they focused on the balance thing, because that's the hardest thing in bicycling. It's not like steering. The hardest thing is the balance thing. So they took away things that are not connected. Instead of making it easy to balance, they took away everything and you can practice balancing. And I think our brains are eager when we have a problem. We think that something is too complex. There are too many things at play. We have 3 different prioritization frameworks. And then we think, how can we manage it? Well, we put something on top, a new prioritization framework which says this is mandatory things or something like that. And then often when you have complexity and you add more constraints, it becomes even more complex, even though you thought, because these constraints play with each other. But if you can remove constraints instead and say, we take away the pedals, then you might find that there's a totally different way of doing this, and everything gets more clean and obvious. So if you want to add something later, you won't have as many side effects because you have less things going on at the same time.
Yeah. And again, there's more those reasons. And if someone are curious about the other reasons, is there a book or some article or something where they can read about this?
Yeah, there is a blog post. It's not like this 20 reasons, but it's the same goal of that.
It's by you. And
yeah.
Where they can find it?
On Medium. So if you search on my name on Medium, you'll find it.
Okay.
It's called something about sprint goal or skipping the sprint backlog or something.
Okay. Great, because I think try to reach out and try to find those, because there's, as I mentioned, plenty of those reasons, and they're so cool. Like, just to reflect, and you will see how many reasons you can face in your daily work, like, or your environment, because they will be. Maybe done about those 2 books which you mentioned, like Monotasking. What is this book about? Because I didn't read some of it, but maybe just...
Yeah, the Pomodoro book, maybe you know about Pomodoro, many people do, describes this method and also something around why it works, a little bit about the brain. However, for some people, like me, maybe you, that comes from engineering, it might be easy to follow a process that has these kind of lists and you move things and you have this exact 25 minutes and so. But for many people, it's too many rules and too much process. So I try to create something that should be more intuitive and more in line with psychology and evolution and how the brain works. So I created another method. I don't say that it's better than Pomodoro, but it's a little bit different. That has those goals to be more intuitive and more easy. And right, if you don't choose, you will get the default version. That's fine. Instead of you having to choose all the time to make it correct. So it's still a method about monotasking as opposed to multitasking, how to focus. But also, I found that to be able to monotask is not just a question of being good at focusing. It's also setting up an environment, a context where you can multitask. For example, you mentioned that if you have a lot of stakeholders and you started and you said to all of them, I will soon be finished, and you have too many things. If you can go to some of them and say, I looked at my list and I discovered that I will probably never do your thing, even though I promised it. It's better for you to not wait and instead do it yourself or ask someone else. Because it will be bad for you if I say that I will deliver, but I will deliver it anyway. So if you can remove things from your backlog, even though it hurts a little bit when you're doing it, it will be easier to multitask because you don't have this bad conscience that you need to do something else because you promised someone to do something else.
Yeah. Great. Then just simple question. The day is almost at the end. You liked Agile Tour Vilnius?
I think it was a great conference, and I asked you how long you have been doing this, and you said like 12, 13 years or something, and you can see that because it's very mature, and you have you cover a broad area.